I am not going to ask you to turn in any other of the exercises for chapter 13, but there are a few things I want to show you in these exercises that I think will be useful to you. There's also one other thing I want to show you that isn't in here that I think will help some of you fully define your sketches. I will probably have questions in the quiz from this video, so please watch the whole thing. Okay, the first thing I want to show you is a setting that I found that might help some of you who are used to using Autodesk Inventor. If you go into Options and then you select Sketch, there's an option here called Enable On-Screen Numeric Input on Entity Creation and Create Dimension only when the value is entered. You select those and let's create a new part, and then we'll do a sketch on the top plane. If I create a circle, drag it out, you can see there's now a dimension that shows up there. If I don't enter anything, there's no dimensions put on. Now I notice some of you are coming over here and putting in a dimension there. That does make the circle that size, but there's nothing making it stay that size. This thing can be anywhere. It's not fixed unless you add a dimension. But if you take advantage of this new option, when that comes up and you set this for 1, it automatically creates that dimension for you, so you don't have to go back in and do it, and you can see that it's fully defined. And this will work for the rectangle, the same thing. If I choose to give it dimensions, I say I want it 4, and then it'll ask me what the other dimension I want. I want that 3, and then it gives me a fully defined rectangle. So I recommend you doing that. Again, Options, Sketches, Enable on-screen numeric input on entity creation. The next thing I want to show you has to do with using the pierce command. So I'm going to make a spring. So first thing is the start angle. I remember we had some problems with the start point of the spring wasn't on any of the planes. So some of you created planes and some of you just drew it on the whatever plane there was and tried to get it close. And you can set where that starts by setting that start angle. Set it to start at 0 and you use the origin as your center point. 0 and 90 are going to line up with a plane. So let's see what happens when I do this. So now that was on my top plane. So my front plane, that doesn't line up. Let's see if our right plane does. Yes, it does. Look at that. The right plane is right in line with that. So I can come in here and draw on my right plane. In this case, we're going to use a rectangle. And I would just like grab here and draw a rectangle. And what are their dimensions for this thing? It's I'm not sure if this is in IPS or metric. Let's just try 0.08 and 0.215. Okay, so I got my sketch of my rectangle, and I want this to be at that point, so I select that center point, and then I control click on the helix, and then I use this pierce command, and it puts it right at that point. And then I can go over to features and do my sweep. This is going to be my profile, and this is going to be my sketch. And there we have a square spring. I usually hide the spiral helix because it just confuses the model if it's not The second thing I wanted to show you on this was if we were going to put this in assembly and you needed a reference point, you could use the planes, but you can also use an axis. Now there's a temporary axis that is automatically created, but if you wanted to put a real axis in the center of that, you can use your planes. What you would do is select your two intersecting planes, your front and your right, and then go up to reference and select axis, and that would put a reference plane right in the center using the intersection of the two planes. It's a lot of things that are very handy if you start your model at the origin. Thanks for watching.